hands could be shaking, my heart could be pounding, I'm feeling it in my stomach. At that point, like, I'm a very determined person, right? I didn't want to just stop. I was just surviving. On the 28th of March,
fellow Ghanaian,
I didn't even have a plan. Everything just came crashing that year. People started sending me a post on Instagram. Ghanaians, people who had never even bought from me, they were fighting hard. It was like a very emotional, because like just when like I'm excited, and now every sale I had done, over $2,000 was taken. Never give up. My name is Edzordzinam Agrosah. I was born and bred in the Volta region, Akachi. I went to senior high school in Benkum. Then I went to University for Development Studies, where I did integrated business studies in accounting. I own the brand Bloombyedzi and Edgy Woman. Edgy Woman is more bespoke, and Bloombyedzi is ready to wear. When I was starting Bloombyedzi, one of the things I was looking for something in a way to give back, to help the environment. So one of the ways I discovered was to source rejected fabrics or false fabrics and then create beauty out of it. So actually the Bloombyedzi, the bloom means creating beauty out of something that's left over or rejected.
Where did you start the art of sewing? And what were the challenges that you faced?
From childhood, from as early as I can remember, I've always loved creative arts. I'm a handy person. I love doing things with my hands. Like I can braid my own hair, I can fix electrical stuff, I can do carpentry, like I can nail things. Basically, I like things that have to do with using my hands to solve problems or putting things together. But along the line, I realized I was drawn more to creating dresses. It wasn't something in my mind I knew that, oh, one day I want to do this full time. It was more like it was just a hobby. And throughout my schooling, even in senior high school, I think that was when I sort of started growing. I was able to now put an actual garment together with needle and thread. I remember one time in my final year, I was suspended from school because I was sewing uniforms, unprescribed uniforms for students. All with needle and thread, by the way. And then I was charging 50
The entire garment was in...
Yes, needle and thread, yes, on campus. And then I was charging 50 pesos for it. And then the authorities found out, they brought me to assembly, they suspended me, go bring your parents. And I hid in the school for a whole week because I was too scared to call my dad. Eventually, I had to call my parents. They came to apologize and I was punished. To think that I was once punished for sewing, and then now I'm making a living out of this very safe sewing, is just mind-blowing for me. Also because my dad, I mentioned earlier, he's really strict. Don't go out, don't make friends, don't do this. You need to wear a certain type of clothing, no shape, long from top to the
And I'll look at you.
So it's just interesting that now I'm able to wear whatever I want, be able to create designs for people, moving from the girl who wasn't allowed to wear anything she wanted to now having the freedom to create anything I wanted, and people love it. It's just mind-blowing for me. And because my dad was like that, I didn't have friends, I couldn't go out. So I used most of my time to just stay home and be doing arts and crafts, right? But as I did that, I perfected my skill over the years. And that has led to what we see right now. I remember even in uni, these African print bags were in vogue a couple of years ago, over a decade ago, with earrings. I taught myself how to make them. So I used to make bags and earrings. I remember I would load Ghana Must Go, like 2 of them. So my provisions are in like 1. I had like 2 Ghana Must Goes full of bags and things I'm going to sell on campus. And I realized now, but I needed to be able to make the things there. So then from whatever skills I was able to make, I was able to get myself one sewing machine. And then I started sewing from campus. So when I first created an Instagram page, it wasn't because, I want to do this food. It was more like,
when did you create an Instagram page for this? Wasn't the uni time?
Yes, in uni. So my Edgy Woman, at the time it was called Miss Evis, because my friends used to call me that. When I bought my first machine, I brought it to my hostel, my room. But then we were 4 in a room. I can't be sewing in a room and be disturbing others. So then I moved to the kitchen. So everybody had like a locker. So my locker for cooking was for my sewing machine and my sewing accessories. So there I had the freedom to just be sewing for everybody. And then people on campus started hearing, and then people started sewing from me. And I was able to combine that with, and my dad never knew about it. maybe if he hears this interview, he would know that that's what I was doing. He still doesn't know till now. When we are doing like face-off UDS and all of that, I would be the one sewing for the contestants.
Oh, really?
Yes. So that's what I was doing on campus. They even gave me an Entrepreneurial Student of the Year award. And I think I also had a Discovery of the Year award at some point. And all of this, I knew I loved doing this. At some point, I would be doing it, but I didn't think that right after school, I was going to jump right in. After school, I did National Service at Ministry of Finance. And after I was done, my boss employed me the goal was to employ me for a longer period, but I stopped after 3 months. Every time I'm going to church, I make sure I always wear something new every Sunday. So every Sunday I'm going to church. So I'm working Monday to Friday. So Saturday I have to do laundry, sew for other people because I'm still sewing for other people. Make whatever I'm going to wear to church the next day on Sunday. So every week that was my routine. So then it started catching a lot of attention in my church. So people started sewing for me in my church. So my church was like my first immediate place I was getting markets from. So you used
yourself to advertise?
Yes, to advertise. And then along the line, word of mouth, people started. So by the time I had quit my job, I had a little bit of customers. Throughout this time, he's trying to get me to go do my master's, applying to schools, applying to jobs because now I'm home, I'm sewing for people, like I'm saying. Another point, I didn't have like a plan, like, okay, this is the plan. I'm quitting to come and do this and by this. I didn't even have a plan. I had just quit and I knew that this is my passion. So there was an intuitive feeling in me that if I do this, I will succeed because it's something I've always loved to do. So I just followed that intuition and I quit and I just started doing that from the house. I remember when I started, at the end of the month, my revenue would be like 300 cedis. And then I'll look at it, because at the time I'm charging like 15 cedis. 18 cedis, and the people would still be complaining, oh, it's too expensive. You know, so then I've had to like save this at the end of the month. 300 is how much money has got. I now need to take out expenses and whatever. It wasn't much. So that was when I had the awakening. Okay, if this is what I want to do, then I have to do it well. So I have a slogan: if it must be done, it must be done well. It's one thing I live my life by. My mates I finished school with, after national service, some of them have started getting jobs in banks, and then I'm looking at them, and then it's looking nice. And here I am with my sewing machine, the manual one. That was the only thing I had at the time. And at the time, I was even staying with my half brother, and I was sewing like in front of their room. It was like in the sand. And I'm like, no, if my colleagues are getting big jobs, they would grow, the corporate ladder, they will earn more money. Then I have to find ways so that I could also grow, because I can't be at one place and they are growing and I'm here. So then I decided that, okay, I can't be stagnant. Anything that makes me feel like I'm marking time, I can't do it. So that every year I give myself targets to reach for my business. So then I decided in this case, I need to get bigger machines. So I saved up. Well, I had already saved up my national service money. I never spent it anyway. So the first thing I did was to make that hand machine now electrical. Okay. You can buy motor and attach it to. So I did that. But it was making too much noise. Like, the neighbors were complaining because I would be sewing 2 a.m. I'm sewing. So the neighbors were complaining. Then I went to save up and I bought an industrial machine for the first time. Okay. And what actually even helped the most, that pushed me, was Pastor Chris was coming to Ghana in 2016. And they were supposed to sew for the choristers. So I went in, tried to lobby for the contract so that I could also get some to. So eventually I got some of the contract to sew for the choir, because they had like a huge like choir rosters for the event. And that was like at the time, that was like a big break for me, because now I bought my sewing machines to be able to do that work now. And then out of that, I've been able to save enough to now rent a single room. In my single room, if you enter, this is my sewing machine, this is my bed, this is my kitchen. So you can see my entire life
in that one
room. And customers used to come there. I still have customers who used to sew for me from back in the day when I had that one room. They used to come in. I still have some of them, and they really appreciate the growth so far. So then I had that one room. Customers come, they sit on my bed, I sew for them, and eventually I was able to rent another room in the same compound. Okay. So now I have a room to myself where my belongings are. And then now I have a room purposely for work.
Okay.
And at the time, I still didn't know I was going to start Bloom by Edgy anyway. It's still the other brand. So eventually, savings, working hard from 2016 to 2018. So it took me about 2 years. I was able to raise up some money, and I'm like, okay, at this point, I feel like I need to move to the roadside.
Okay.
So that now people can see me. So it's not just the word of mouth anymore. It's not just my Instagram anymore. Now people can randomly walk in. I can be able to display. I had this whole vision in my head. And I said, okay, then I think it's time to get an actual store. I remember when I told my dad about it, he wasn't so thrilled about it. Even when I was going to move and get another room in the house, he wasn't so thrilled about it because initially he's not even supporting this whole sewing because he wants you to be an accountant, be this, be that. So I took one day, I moved around the whole neighborhood, going from shop to shop. Eventually I sat and I decided, okay, I prefer this one, I went to pay. And guess what? This guy says, oh, pay me 80% of the money and I would finish the place up for you in 3 months. I didn't have enough on me because I needed to pay like 5 years in advance. So I had to go borrow 7,000 Ghana cedis from my cell leader at the time from church. I think at the time the total was, 35,000. But I didn't have the 20% even of that 35,000. I remember 1st January 2018, that was when I decided I wanted a shop. I found a shop. I was at Achimota Mall at the time, at the car park beneath. I was lying down. At the time, I had a Kia Picanto. I was lying down in my car, and then I'm writing names of those who I think can borrow me 7,000 Ghana cedis. Writing, and then I'm calling them. 1st January, people are New Year, enjoying life. Who can give me this amount? I started calling. This one said, oh, I don't have. This one says, I don't have. And eventually, called my cell leader. He said, oh, yes, he'd give me 7,000. We are having a cell meeting that day. I should come by quickly. I went to get ready for a cell meeting. And then so he supported me, and then I paid. The landlord says, okay, I will finish the place for you in 3 months. It took a whole year before this man was able to finish. A whole year. I'm done paying how much I've borrowed. I'm done from January to December before this guy finished this place. It's one of the things I've had to go through being a woman and trying to do things by myself without having a male support, a male figure, for support. It was very difficult. So then at the time, my cell leader was who I was counting on to be in front to go talk to him, because most of the time when you're trying to talk to them, they look at you like you're a woman. And like, how dare you, come and do? They don't even take you seriously. So eventually, and by the time the place was ready, now I have to give him the balance. I don't have enough to give because the plan I had, if he had finished the place for me in 3 months, I would have moved out there. I knew the things I wanted to do. I had plans for photo shoots, whatever, to bring business, and all of that didn't happen. So then now, I had to now move into the shop with my whole belongings. So I remember I packed all my things, my bed, everything. I took them to
the shop?
No, to Akachi. I took them home back to Akachi. And I had like 4 boxes in the shop. So I had 1 box for my church clothes, 1 box for my shoes, 1 box for my everyday, then 1 box for my bags in one corner of the shop. Being there that year took like a really huge toll on me. Those moments were challenging for me. I was falling sick the whole time and I didn't know what was wrong. I go to the hospital several times, run labs, and they would say there's nothing wrong with me. I'm sick, right? I can't eat. My hands are shaking. I'm not able to sleep at night. My body is like always hot. And so eventually they decided what I had was chronic fatigue syndrome. Then they started treating me for that. And at the point, they felt like I was having anxiety attacks.
Was this all because you were staying
depressed? Yeah,
alone?
So at that point, I mean, I can't really pinpoint what exactly it was, but everything just came crashing that year. And it made me feel like it's because of where I was at that point in my life. Like, it was challenging, because like I mentioned earlier on, I don't like being broke. I don't like not having things. I don't like not being able to provide for myself. And I'm at a point in my life that I can't provide certain things for myself. And I've had to be in this confined space.
Were you making business at that time too?
I was, but it wasn't anything serious. Like, people would come there to come and sew, but it wasn't anything serious. So I think the period of that whole sickness thing, I think from June to I think September, that one I wasn't even working at all because I couldn't work. So whatever money I've had, I now have to be buying, because I was buying food every day. I can't cook, I can't eat. And it was very hard.
It took a toll on you.
Yes, it took a huge toll on me, and I decided that I needed to heal from all of that. And at that point, I knew I wanted to start Bloombyedzi, but the finance was not there to just go into it, because Bloombyedzi, to start it, would need more capital as compared to the other brand, because that one people bring their own fabrics. But Bloombyedzi means I need money to buy fabrics. I need people to sew, stock them up in sizes, which I just didn't have the money to start. So I had even created an Instagram page. It's there, but there's nothing happening there. And at that point, like, I'm a very determined person, right? I don't like to fail. I know failure is part of life. I don't like to disappoint myself. And I just felt like, and this was also like my passion, something I enjoyed doing. So I knew that I was going through this, but like, I didn't want to just stop, right? So I took it like, maybe I needed to take a break, right? To take a break to deal with the things that are happening in my life at that particular time, so that I can be able to come back to it. Because I didn't think that I needed, my mom would call and say, oh, why don't you just come home? If Accra is too hard, come back home. But then I knew that no, like, this cannot be the end of my story, that I started and then eventually I failed. So then I had to push. So I started making resolutions, first of all by moving out of the shop, and then decided that, okay, 2019, it's already over. So 2020, I'm going to start a fresh year. I'm going to launch Bloombyedzi in 2020. I told myself by January, I would launch. January came, I'm still not ready because there's no finance. There's, I'm still having like the challenges. So then I'm working at it. I told myself, okay, February, I would open. And all this while, I'm not just sitting down, not doing anything. Like, I'm putting in the work, I'm shopping as and when I get money, I'm buying, fabrics, I'm sewing small, I'm trying to employ people, I'm doing all of that. Just so I could come back and launch this brand that's like, it's so dear to me, I wanted to do. And then eventually I fixed the dates, 1st March 2020. And I told myself, ready or not, here I come. So I started making opening plans. And then by the grace of God, like, everything was coming in together. My friends were very supportive, coming around to help, and I was able to launch Bloombyedzi on 1st March. It was a very happy day. We cut the thing, everybody was happy. And then on the 28th of March.
Fellow Ghanaians, good evening. Some 48 hours from now, I have imposed restrictions on movement of persons in the Greater Accra metropolitan area. Prevailing circumstances mean the stricter measures have to be put in place to contain and halt the spread of the virus within our country.
Wow.
Yeah, COVID happened. And this is me, the year before, no money, sleeping in my shop. 2020, just when I'm thinking things are getting better, now there's lockdown. Now people can't go out. That means they cannot buy dresses. Because women love buying, but they don't just buy if you don't have anywhere to go. And now I'm back to square one.
Wow.
I'm back to being at home and doing nothing, and the clothes are there. And for a while, I had a little bit of money to survive for a while. But eventually I'm like, no, I need to find ways to sell what I had. So I remember I started doing discount sale. I was just like clearing. I just needed money to just clear. Lockdown was over, but I actually started operating in August from March.
So at that point, you were just surviving.
I was just surviving. Like surviving on whatever discounts, anybody who buys during that discount period. I was just surviving. And thankfully, once I started again, things started picking up again. And I'm not somebody who likes to be at one place. And I think I I mentioned that like I was having anxiety. I still struggle a lot with anxiety and all, but I'm able to work through it. Like my heart could be pounding, I'm feeling it in my stomach, but I'm working. Like you would see me and you wouldn't even know that my hands could be shaking. Maybe I will probably go and sit in my car because at that point it could be visible, but like after that you will see me. That's when I'm even working the most, right? I'm working the most and I'm like, no. 2020 has come with 8 challenges. I mean, it wasn't so bad compared to 2019. So then 2021 we go again. And then I launched my first, that was like my second collection. And I mean, it's been, you know, from glory to glory ever since. It's been, I'm not saying it's been easy, right? But I've made sure that every year the brand grows more than we used to be. So if this year we were here, next year we were there. And I told myself that before my 5 years to be up in that shop, I needed to move out of there. And by the grace of God, I think 3.5 years we moved here and I had to let go of that place. So
how long does Bloom by Edgy been operational?
4 years this month. One of the challenges I was facing the most was finding reliable staff, reliable people to work with. Because now the brand is growing now. I can't be the only one sewing anymore. I needed more people to help me. So, but it was just very difficult. Either you get somebody who comes, it's like they are just coming because they've seen you're doing something. They want to come and pick from you and go. So I've had situations like that where people come around. They get up one day and they just vanish. You don't see them. The next thing you see a brand on social media sewing the exact same thing that person came and you were making them do the exact same thing. Then I'm like, how do I work around this? Because it's challenging when you are creating things, because creating a collection takes a long time. I've been working on a summer collection from January. I'm still not done. It takes like a lot of work. So for someone to just come and take it, it was stressful. So then I keep praying to God to bring the right people my way, take the wrong people out of my life. It's like one of the prayers I used to do a lot. And along the line, people started coming and now they stay and now they don't leave anymore. So now I have the time, because now I have more staff, now I have the time to do more.
To be more creative.
To be more creative.
So what's your staff strength right now?
We are 12. And even that, we only grew to that number last year, July, when a design of mine was stolen by a South African
Can you tell us about that story?
Right, so every year I do birthday photo shoots. And last year, let me even say, so I'm a fabric hoarder. I do a lot of impulse buying. I see it, my spirit feels this is it. I don't know what I'm going to use it for. I buy everything, I put it down. So I had bought this fabric like a year before and I decided, I already had a dress called the Magnolia set. So I decided to create a cute dress using the Magnolia blouse, add like a bottom into a dress for my shoot. Then I posted this video and it blew up on social media. And the fabric even sold out because people really loved it. Then a week later, so the thing is sold out, people still want it. I'm trying to figure out how to get fabric that is similar, because mind you, I bought the fabric like a year ago, so I can't get the same thing anymore. So while I'm trying to figure out how to, people started sending me a post on Instagram that looks like the same dress I had created that just blew up like a week ago. And I'm not the one who made this dress. And it was the day Barbie was being launched. And this person had done like a huge photo shoot, like with pink backdrops, with makeup, like. And everybody was like, yo, this person has copied your design. What are you going to do? And I don't like conflicts. I don't like confrontations. So I would rather swallow my pride and just let whatever it is go than to confront people. But then it's like the people, my followers, Bloom by Edgy followers, shout out to them, they are the best. They kept sending it to me, no, you need to call this person out, you need to call this person out. Other people in the industry were saying, you need to call this person out. So eventually I put a statement out there that, okay, Bloom by Edgy is a female-owned brand and we pride ourselves in women empowerment, but stealing another woman's work, because this other person is also a female designer, so it's not the right thing to do, so they should do better. I put a statement out there. And at that point, demand for that particular dress was just going up and up. And at that point, we're only 3. I had 2 people who were sewing full-time, sewing custom. The one person was sewing ready to wear, only 3. And at that point, we couldn't meet the demand because like every day, people were just ordering this dress. People were just
Because of that What dress was that?
The Kaya dress.
Okay.
Yes. So at that point, I had to now start employing new people. So I think around that time, our number grew to I think 9 or 10 at that period. So by July and August, we had grown to that number.
So just by that challenge,
that particular challenge, that
your business had grown.
Wow. It had grown, and I think that month we had made like the most sales in 1 month I had ever made in my business because of that particular dress. So I guess, you can turn lemons into lemonades if you make up your mind or if you find the right. And at the time, last year, one of my goals for the business was to go international. I always used to tell my staff, like, every year you need to set goals. And one of the goals for me last year was to go international. Let not just Ghanaians hear of the brand. So that particular situation that happened sort of just made that goal a reality. Now I'm shipping all the time to the US because of that particular.
Wow.
Now people who didn't know about Bloombyedzi, even South Africans were buying around that time.
Wow.
Because I would think they would go and buy from their designer who was South Africa, but then they were buying. And I was really overwhelmed because that particular situation made me realize that people loved Bloombyedzi. I didn't feel, it's not like I was expecting it. I was not expecting it, but I also didn't think people loved my brand. People even knew my brand like that. The love that I received around that time, it was overwhelming. I did not expect it. People fought hard. Like, you would go to the comments, people had time to be, fighting the South Africans, because the South Africans are coming for Ghanaians. Ghanaians, people who had never even bought from me, they were fighting hard. It was like a very emotional. I was like, oh my God. Just when I'm excited, sales are booming. The first few sales I had done for the Kaya dress via my international website, because I mentioned I wanted to go international. I created like a whole website for it. PayPal, at the time I was using PayPal. I was finding ways to be able to receive money from abroad and all of that. So somebody helped me sign up for PayPal. And all the money I had received, PayPal says they need to hold on to it for 21 days to be sure I'm legit before they give it to me. Now they're asking me to provide proof of transaction if I fulfilled these orders. The moment I uploaded the tracking numbers of the orders I had shipped, they sent me an email to say, you've been permanently blocked from using our service, and we will get back to you in 180 days on how you can collect your funds. I was sleeping in my store at the time. It was around 2 a.m. and I saw the message, like my heart just like
sunk.
I was like, what? Because like just when like I'm excited, I'm happy, things are going well, I'm making sales, and now every sale I had done, over $2,000, all of that was taken. And then I didn't know what to do. So like I'm panicking at this point, I'm panicking. So I'm trying to call a few friends, but nobody has been able to like assist me on how to receive the money. And yet I needed to ship these orders. There were even new orders that had come in that I still had to fulfill. I was even trying to refund the funds. They were not allowing me. I couldn't do anything. So I decided, you know what? 180 days seem like far. It's about 6 months, but the best thing to do now is to put the customer first. The reputation of the brand was at stake. So I had to fulfill all these orders with my own money, ship them with my own money, do everything with my own money, with hopes that PayPal will give me back my money. And up to now, I still haven't been able to retrieve.
Still sitting in the account.
Still sitting in the account. So this is just to say, it's not really like a smooth road.
Yes.
Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. Just when you may think things are going well, all of a sudden, something always happens to just take the joy away. But like, you just need to find ways of making sure that you don't lose focus, that you don't focus too much on the problem. When the problem arises, you find ways to turn it into a lemonade. So I guess one of the reasons why I'm able to forge on regardless of everything I go through is that this is like the one safe thing in my life. This is the one stable thing in my life. I crave a lot of stability, and my business is like the one thing in my life that gives me that. It's safe for me. It's my one thing, my one baby. Nobody can take it away from me. So regardless of what I'm going through, it's like my safe space. it's when I'm going through the things, like when I'm going through it personally, that's when I even create the best designs, like, because like me, I put all my sadness, my everything into the work, and I work a lot. But lately I'm learning to take some time for myself. I'm learning to take it easy and not go at it too hard like I used to.
What are the future goals for Bloombyedzi?
So for now, what I'm doing is I'm putting the measures in place for the growth that is coming. At the moment, I'm trying to work on a factory so that I can be able to house more people, employ more people to work. I need to be able to source fabrics, because fabric is like one of my major challenges also in the country, in Ghana, I mean. So one of the solutions is also get like a factory, a very big space where we have enough space, like a warehouse, so I can be able to stock fabrics in large, be able to accommodate these young people to work. We can be able to produce in large scale as well.
What piece of advice would you give to upcoming female entrepreneurs, females in fashion, entrepreneurs in fashion? What advice would you give?
It's not easy. It's not easy at all. And it's very difficult, but at the end of the day, they shouldn't give up because it pays off. And they should try to be consistent. When you're having your low times, it's okay to take a break and to work on yourself and then come back again. But don't give up. Never give up.
Awesome.